we rely on the regional meets, palarong pambansa tournaments. Right after that, the kids stop playing.
Yeah, they go.
Right?
Yeah.
So the development of the player is really hard. Instead of playing the next level of football, they just stop.
Welcome to Across the Line. We've had Azkal legend after Azkal legend on the show in recent weeks, and today we've got Chieffy Caligdong on the program, a former teammate of Chris Greatwich, who of course is with us, and a big star in the Philippines during his prime, and a real example for homegrown talent on how to uplift themselves using the sport of football. It was a great chat, Chris. What did you take away from it?
Yeah, I think it was really nice for Chieffy to talk about some of his lesser known experiences. So he went over a little bit with his sensational debut back in 2004, where he scored 2 goals against East Timor to give Philippines their first major tournament victory. We then sort of segued into some of his more famous goals, iconic goals against Mongolia and Vietnam, and then also really nice to talk about his experiences that he's having in Canada right now. So real 360 overview of what he's experienced both in his previous life as an Azkal player, but also what he's currently up to in his time in Canada.
Really awesome as well, listening to his thought process on dealing with the influx of foreign talent into the national team and how he dealt with that as a homegrown player, and his thoughts on coaching, on the need for more competitions in the provinces. It's a fantastic conversation, and of course just a great catch up with a man who's been off the radar a little bit in terms of Philippine football in the last couple of years. But it was a wonderful catch-up and a great chat, and we hope you enjoy it as well. If you like the content that we produce here on Across the Line, please do subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. Rate and review the episode, share it with a friend. It really does help us out and keep us motivated in doing more of these episodes. And of course, follow us on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. Without further ado, it is Emelio, Chieffy Caligdong here on Across the Line. All right, guys. So glad you could join us here on Across the Line. We've got a perfect way to start the week. We've got a real treat for you guys. An icon of Philippine football is joining us today. We've had all kinds of royalty of Philippine football on the show. We've had Rob Gear, we've had Neil Etheridge just recently, and now a real star, especially for those who are homegrown players. He's a real inspiration for them. Thank you for joining us all the way from Ontario. We've got Chieffy Caligdong on Across the Line. How's it going, Chieffy?
Good morning to all your house. I just want to hi to my buddy Chris and Toby, and of course sa'yo, Jim. So thank you for being here sa ano nga to interview. So yeah, so thank you.
Malaking karangalan para sa amin to have you here. I got the shirt going today, number 13, Chieffy Caligdong. Kamusta kayo dyan sa Canada ngayon?
proud Filipino pa rin. So yeah, so we're good. Yeah, so turning 2 years this coming September. So yeah, so same thing, same life. I'm coaching the one of the team here in Ontario, in North Mississauga Soccer Club. So I'm handling the under 15 boys football team. Yeah, and so I'm trying to adjust. It's really big difference, in coaching. So yeah, but from I started last year. They are from the rank 18, 1A. Then this season we were moved to number 4. So yeah, it's a good start.
How's it going, Chris? How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Glad to see we finally managed to get Chieffy on the show. I know you've been talking to him for a long time, trying to pin him down, but with the time difference, it's been very difficult. So we've had kids running around in the background already, but yes, so happy you could take time to speak to us, because I know a lot of people have been interested to find out what you've been getting up to recently.
Yeah, actually, yun, maraming nagtataka, no? Like, what is it that you've been up to? Is it still football? So it's good to know that you're still coaching over there.
Yeah,
And I understand na nakuha mo nga yung license mo, no? Like you have a B license that you've acquired, and then you were able to get the equivalency over there in Canada that allows you to coach at that under 15 level.
yeah.
But how's life in Canada? Kumusta naman dyan? I'm sure the weather is very different.
Well, the weather is huge. It's really hard to adjust on the first month. Like, yeah, so cold. Like the last winter is very tough. Like lots of snowstorm. Yeah. So, but no, it's okay. But we're still the kids are okay. But my wife and I are really, have a tough situation, of course. So adjusting, uh, in a from from work, from staying in an apartment. So yeah, it's good. But we enjoy the life that we stay here in Canada. So yeah, so we will maka-adjust din balang araw. So for now siguro maybe one year more to get better and better and better. Yeah. So yun lang. Enjoy lang. So if you put yourself like thinking your life back in Philippines, so parang kino-compare mo, so it's really hard, but I'm trying to adjust. And syempre yung mga taong makakausap mo, yung people you talk who every day, especially in coaching, the kids you approach, it's really different, no? So yun lang, konting adjustment. Yeah.
I
Chieffy,
think the big question. Go ahead,
yes.
Chris.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jing.
Chris.
One of the questions I wanted to ask that a lot of people have asked me, but I don't really know the full answer, is what made you make the transition to move to Canada in the first place? Do you want to just explain what happened there and why you made the move?
It's a tough question, Chris. Yeah, because of the I will make it short, the story. So because my my wife family, my wife family side is all of them are here in Canada already, right? So their cousins, my kids' cousins are always ask my kids to when we're going to Canada, right? So yeah, so maybe it's a for the family time already. Like I decided to, okay, we give me a few months. I'll decide if we will go to Canada to move in Canada. But the whole story is inside that is the kids, no, and because they want to go. And of course I'm thinking also the future of the kids. They have future in Philippines also, because I want to grow like the culture that we have, right? Like you stay in the Philippines, right? So but yeah, the story behind this is that we move in Canada is the kids. So of course I'm thinking also the future of the kids here in Canada. So yeah. So, but of course, I will never forget the set aside the what I have back home, right? Like the character, the attitude. So I'm still um, um, like give teaching the kids, right? So I'm always remind them that we're Filipinos and we're not Canadians. So yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's it. So the behind is the kids.
It's been quite a journey for you, no, Chieffy? I mean,
Yeah, it's
born in Barotac Nuevo, started there, and then found your way over to Manila with the Air Force, and then of course yung kasabog nung Azkals and being
yeah.
put onto the national stage. Nakikita ko yung picture mo still with the president of the
Yeah.
Philippines during that time, and now you found your way to Ontario. It's quite a life journey that you're on right now. Perhaps one thing that people will be interested in is yung pinanggalingan mo, no? Yeah, the
Yeah.
roots of Chieffy Caligdong. You grew up in Barotac Nuevo, correct?
Yeah. So I was born in Barotac Nuevo, and I grew up there. I studied elementary, high school, and college in one of University of San Agustin. So after that, I moved to Manila to play in the Philippine Air Force. So yeah, so the give me opportunity to to join the armed forces of the Philippines and to play the the league. So yung AFP, PNP Olympics. So perhaps like right you said, like a long journey. So kung minsan nga iniisip ko, no, minsan I was uh, thinking bakit ako nandito sa Canada. So but yeah, so pag yung pamilya yung pinag-uusapan. So it's really tough decision sometimes. So yeah, so so far I'm happy naman. I'm happy, but of course I miss uh, um, when I was in Manila. Like my past days before na I was in Lasal with Coach Hans and helping Coach Manji, and yeah, so ganun lang. So sometimes it happens. So yeah, pero uh, so sad, but it's the kids. The kids palagi yung, and the family palagi yung nasa front, yung reason. Yeah.
Kids are the priority. Chris
Yeah,
would know a thing or two about this. Me, not yet. I don't have any kids quite
yeah.
yet. So
Chris will feel up. Chris will feel about that. So yeah, he knows that. Yeah. So right, Chris. So
Yeah, I know the
yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
I know that
So
feeling. I know a little bit about your backstory in Iloilo. Like I don't know the full story, but one story that I think is quite interesting that often comes up. I know a little bit, but I don't know the full story. I don't know if Jing knows the full story, but Chieffy,
you
the name
send somebody.
Chieffy.
Send somebody. Maybe you send somebody there to.
Yeah, I know. Some things you can't tell, we can't talk about on camera because you told me what you were like. But you were a bit of a bad boy before.
Not really.
Chieffy, what's the story behind the nickname Chieffy? Do you want to tell everyone about that backstory? Because I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, Chieffy nickname was because my grandfather before is chief of police way back 19. I was not born yet, so like 1960s maybe or 50s. So he's a chief of police in Barotac Nuevo. So that's why when I was born, so my grandfather told my father to give a nickname, Chieffy, Chief. So in short, they just add FY to make Chieffy. So that's why, and my full name Emelio Caligdong is my grandfather full name also.
Okay,
So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my grandfather full name Emelio Caligdong. So and also my nickname, he was given also as a Chieffy. So and yeah, so he's happy, very of course. So far he's in heaven now, so he's happy because I'm the only one. Yeah, so like yung ano nga to, I'm following his footstep.
Footsteps,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it was in the service, and yeah, so the chiefy as also I was in the service before in the Air Force. So that's the full story of the
Yeah.
um, chiefy made chief. Yeah.
Ilan kayo magkakapatid, Chieffy?
Mahirap sabihin pero siyempre hindi ko kina ano yan no kinakahiya. We're I have 9 siblings, so we're 10. So I'm the youngest. So I have 7 sisters and 2 brothers. Mhm.
Wow.
Oh, masipag yung tatay ko. Tell Chris. So yeah, so we're 10. There I have all except my brother. So because he passed away already. So that's why I'm wearing a 13 because he played in the national team before also, and he played in UST, University of Santo Tomas. And yeah, so that's why I'm wearing 13 because of him. So yeah, I just
All your
continue his
siblings,
journey in football.
all your siblings
Yeah.
played football also?
No, only 3 of us. Of course, my father played before, but all my sisters are they're focused on business and also arts, something like that. So yeah, so because my father is an artist before, so yeah. So only 3 of us, my 2 siblings, my 2 brothers are playing football, and yeah. So my brother, he just used football as to be a varsity in university. After that, he he left football and nagsiman. Yeah.
Mm.
So yun yung story.
I think maraming interesado about Barotac Nuevo, right? So many people, so many good players come out of Barotac Nuevo. Do you remember still? Could you paint us a picture kung anong klaseng growing up you had in Barotac Nuevo? Anong klaseng culture? What was it like back then? Any fond memories that you have of your life back then in Barotac?
Um, so yung naalala ko before, no, when I was in Barotac, when I was a kid, yung every time you pass by football field, football pitch in Barotac, so yeah, so like everybody is playing football. Like ika nga sabi nila, wala kang only one basketball court doon sa plaza. So yeah, a lot of kids playing, lots of ano lang, signal number 3 lang yung naalala ko, signal number 3 lang yung na ulan yung makapagpahinto sa amin ng maglaro ng football. So watching a lots of tournaments in Barotac, like before yung lahat ng mga National League held in Barotac Nuevo. So I was part of that because I was a ball boy. No, nag-ball boy ako how many years, no, to watch because you don't have any space to, so I volunteer myself to be a ball boy on that tournament so that I can watch right in front of the football players, good football players, like so like madaming tournaments like international tournament dati, so nag-host yung Iloilo. So yeah, yun yung mga memories na hindi ko makakalimutan na sa Barotac, no. And yeah, kalaro ko dati sila Ruben Doctora, yan si Joven Bidik, no. So Ian Araneta. So yung mga kasama ko dati sa plaza, no, naglalaro nakayapak. So hindi uso yung football shoes noon eh. So we're just playing ano nga to?
Slippers.
Sleepers and so gano'n lang. So pustahan. So maraming memories nung nasa Barotac ako. So but alam ng mga kababayan ko, alam ng mga um, teammates ko dati na how I started playing in Barotac. So they know my story, you know how I starting to my first touch sa bola. So alam nila yung storya ng kung saan ako nanggaling. And so ganun lang. So it's a blessing. So we'll continue to be blessed and continue to support also.
Chris, do you remember the first time you played with Chieffy?
The first time Chieffy and I met was 2004.
Yeah, 2005 Year Cup.
Yeah, so we had a training camp in Ultra, and there must have been maybe 50 or 60 players, maybe for the first week of tryouts, right? Something like that.
More.
Maybe there was a lot of people.
Lots of students also, like student athletes are joining in the tryout. So I still remember. Yeah,
and I remember like Aris was very strict. And, I mean, we all wanted to play, right? So we knew what we were aiming for. We all wanted to play in the Tiger Cup. But pretty much every day we would play some sort of games, and then each day he would cut someone. Yeah. Some days scary, 3 players, 4 players. Very serious.
Scary. Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Did you join the squad in 2002? Were you
I joined with 2002 training camp, but so just sad that I was cut.
You were cut, right?
I was cut in the on that the training. So it's my first training camp. No, I was in the Air Force already in that time. Then Coach Aris asked me if I can join the a tryout. So I did. To third round. Then after the final round, I didn't. So I was with Alvin Ocampo and Raymond Tonog, Saige Tonog. So it's really tough for me. So it's lots of experienced player in that during that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you worried about getting cut in 2004 because you'd already experienced what it was like to be cut in 2002, and because there were so many players, and a lot of us were quite young, we were quite new to the system. Were you also worried that you weren't going to make it?
As I see myself, I'm not really give myself also over confidence to be selected on that camp. So you know me, I always try my best. I always hardworking player. So so maybe for you, maybe you have a good chance that time. So because you have more experience when you arrive that time. So for me, it's really tough because I never played in Manila before, right? Since I was in college, so I just played the whole 16, 17 years old in Iloilo, right? So when I was arrived in Manila, I was like a shock. You know, the way the players play, it's really fast, and really hard. So that's for me. It's to join the 2002 a camp. It's a good experience. Getting more experience and then it's good also to I was not there on the final round, and after 2 years when I get back, so I have a good chance. Yeah.
Because I think
You
I
guys,
remember that. I remember that squad, Jing. There was some really stiff competition in your position. There was
Yeah, Ariel
Peter
Cerudo,
Haugan,
Calvan,
Ariel
Ariel
Zerudo.
Cerudo,
Yeah,
Jimmy. You
Sumaba.
remember? No, Jimmy from Navy also.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
Jimmy, yeah.
yeah, Jimmy. Yeah. So I have Ariel Cerudo, Peter Haugan, also Ruel Hiner, also playing
Yeah,
left
good
wing. So
player.
yeah, good player, good. So really tough and yeah, so for my position. And I was the youngest at that time, so it's really hard. But it's good, you know. That's why 2000. Remember in 2004, I was always coming on the bench because
Hmm.
Cerudo is more um, experienced that time. So yeah, yeah.
that was my first
There's a
introduction to you, actually, in 2004. Go ahead, Chris. Do you have a
yeah,
question?
yeah, no. There's a funny story with that. I remember speaking to Aris maybe halfway through the camp,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember saying like, "Why don't you ever start Chieffy? I don't understand." And then he was like, we need someone to impact off the bench. He kept saying, and then he also said that I don't think he could last the full game, right? And I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. I said we should start with Chieffy because he's no offense,
No, no,
he's better than
I
the other
remember.
guys, but
Yeah,
yeah, in the end, he was right because in
yeah.
that tournament, you obviously had a huge impact off the bench. But I remember even in the preliminary games and the friendly games, I remember saying to him, I was like, "What? Why don't you have to start him? You can't have him off the bench." But yeah, in the end, he was right. So I guess it all kind of worked out for everybody.
Mm. Yeah, because now we know already what's the Coach Aris minute, like we're now um, after our career, we understand what Coach Aris telling us, like
Yeah,
put Chibi on the bench and yeah, make some changes on the second half. So we understand now. We understand what is what uh, what is mean, like because Chris always asks Coach Aris why some of the players coming from the bench, but at the end of the day you will understand, so now we know what's the
yeah.
what's the purpose of I always start on the bench.
It was
Yeah.
my first time to see you play that game against Timor Leste. Wow, what an impact that was! Back-to-back goals, super late, and that was our
Mhm.
first win in how long? I don't even remember the last time
Ever.
the Philippines won. That was our first
Mhm.
win.
First win,
So,
yeah. Mm.
can you go back to that? Naalala mo ba yun, yung feeling and the whole experience na nangyari yun?
um I was so feel nervous when Coach Aris called my name, to warm up, and because we we were we're behind already, one nothing, Chris, right?
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, one nothing again. Second half, team against Timor Leste, and Coach Aris asked, who's our assistant coach? You still remember?
Uh, Lloyd or Didding?
Coach Lloyd,
Coach Lloyd or Didding?
yeah, Coach
Yeah.
Lloyd, and yeah, so Coach Lloyd talked me on the bench and bring me on the, yeah, behind the oval, so to warm up, yeah, to start my main, to a tough for me because that's my first um to play a senior game, right? So yeah,
That was your first. Wow.
that's my first to play a senior game. So yeah, and yeah, still my knees are shaking. I can't still believe that I was, yeah, because lots of we have a very depth bench that time, right? So, but Coach Aris told me to warm up, and so he said to me, this is your time, this is your chance to um, to prove yourself if what um, level you are right now. So I didn't hindi ko yun mind yung sinabi niya na ganun. So he gave me a instruction, yung binigay niya na instruction sa akin, yun lang yung talaga yung nilagay ko sa mind ko, sa isip ko na ito yung gagawin ko. So because we have a very good chance because Ali is there as a striker, right? As a target man up front. So every time we during practice we did it a couple of times already. I scored. Remember in Ultra, right? We hit Ali up front as a target man, and Ariel and I always pass through the running behind the back four, right? So yun yung isang setup ng play, no, na to because that's only our chance sa wing because we have a very fast wingers, and Ali also is a big man to hold the ball, no? So yun yung naalala ko, so yun yung nagay ko sa isip ko na once Ali gets the ball, I always run behind the back four. So yeah, twice nangyari. So yeah, I'm really, my first goal I can't yung nakascore ako ng unang goal, so sobrang saya, and of course hindi ko inisip yun na para sarili ko lang, and that's for the teamwork na kung naalala ko na every time na ginagawa namin sa pitch yung play na yon. So yeah, and the second goal almost the same, 100% almost the same. Yeah, 100% almost the same. So yeah, so I'm so happy, and yeah, we celebrate after that. So yeah, it's my first 2 goals in international games, and yeah, so proud to myself, proud to the team na nanalo kami doon sa against Timor Leste, and last minute goal, 90 and 92nd or 93rd, yeah, something
late,
like that.
Late.
So yeah, so yun yung story, but we always train before Coach Aris even the different games, no, we try that strategy, yung game yung setup ng play na yun, but sometimes you cannot yung the right moment, yung right time na minsan siyempre sometimes Ali got a double team because they know Ali because Ali is a big man, and really hard to challenge Ali. So but sometimes when Ali gets the ball, dalawang tao kaagad yung kumukuha sa kanya. So and we always put some of the good defenders, past defenders also, like sa ano yung first game natin, Chris, against we lost against Myanmar, yeah, and we scored against first in Thailand, no, and we lost 2-1, right? Remember?
2-1 or 3-1. You scored in that game
3-1.
as well.
I scored that game also. The same play with Ali. Yeah. So it's a good yung kumbaga yung work ng team, yung movement ng tao, and yung bola saan papasok, saan mag-exit, saan ilalagay yung bola, kailan i-hit si Ali. So lumabas talaga yung play na yun.
When you look back at all the goals you scored, I believe it says 16 on your record. Hindi ko alam kung ano yun, kung accurate yun, no? But
Yeah.
would you say which one is the most iconic of the goals that you've scored? Ako, for me, kasi tumatak talaga sa akin yung goals na yun sa Tiger Cup. But for you, which one for you was the most iconic sa career mo for the Azkals?
Yung okay, of course yung Mongolia and yung Vietnam, yun yung most yung pinakagusto ko na goal na nagawa ko sa national team, no, sa Azkals, yung against Mongolia, and of course yung 2012 2012 yung Suzuki Cup against Vietnam. Yeah. So I was
Maraming
galing din
actually
ako sa
nagtatanong about the Mongolia one. That Mongolia goal is pretty spectacular. A lot of people have been asking about that and wondering ano yung nasa utak mo during that time, at saka nung pumasok na yung bola, ano yung pakiramdam mo. They're just wanting to know what was that experience like, scoring that kind of goal against Mongolia.
Wow. Yeah, playing in your because Bacolod is one of my hometown also, no. When I was during my college time, I will always I played in Coach Nonoy team, yung West Negros team. So of course yung taga mga Bacolod Nuns, no, always support football, no, and hindi ko inaano yung Bacolod is one of the football capital also, no, aside from Iloilo, no, because we're neighbor island. So yung goal na yun na naalala ko na nagawa ko yung goal na yun, no, na maybe it's yung right moment na right time na pag-cross ng bola galing kay Antonio from the side, no, because Phil always got a double team, right? When Phil runs always on the space, always following two men to yung balance ng depensa ng Mongolia, right? So because Phil is, when you play against Phil 1 versus 1 is really hard, right? So tiningnan ko kasi yung the space behind the back four is really open, no, nung nag-cross si Anton doon sa side na after I received the ball. So yun, ano lang, sobrang, syempre I got a good, hindi naman sa ano, no, I get a good ball control. So yung instinct nandoon. So I am a good finisher also in front of the ball. I can kick both legs, left or right. So it happens na pag bounce ng bola, I don't have any angle when you review the goal, no. I don't have any right angle on my left. So I decided to lift up the ball over the defense, and so I'm looking also Ian also right there in front of the goal, but I like yung na moment na nandoon ka na, Jingba, na nandoon ka na sa nakita mo na yung big angle sa in front of the goal, no. Nakita ko rin si Ian nandoon sa loob ng 6 yards box, no. But yung out of position na kasi yung the goalkeeper is already out of position during that time, because he approached when I lifted the ball over the defense. So he stepped one more step. I saw that moment na nag-step one step forward siya. So I decided to volley, the half volley yung bola to bounce. Yung target ko talaga is to bounce the ground. No, not only to volley, kasi kung ibabali ko yung bola, yung tendency nun to may hit ko yung goalkeeper. So I decided to, when he stepped forward, one step forward, I decided to hit the ground. So para yung bola mas mabilis. So yun yung naalala ko sa goal na yun. So yeah, so it's I can imagine yung crowd, yung celebration ng buong stadium, no, and yung shouting, yung the Azkals, no, and of course everyone's happy that goal. So yun yung memory, and and si Chris sobrang happy nung na nag-score kami ng 1-1 that time.
Chris, was that a game that you played in, or was that the one that you missed?
I missed that game.
Yeah,
Didn't play that game. I was in America at the time, so I remember watching it. Online, and just being really jealous. I mean, you've played in some big games here and abroad, Chieffy. Is that the most? Is that the most passionate support that you've received? Do you think in the Philippines? Because the crowd that day was just absolutely electric.
Yeah, in Philippines also in we remember we play against in Rizal, World Cup qualifying.
I didn't play in that either. But Sri Lanka.
So that's Sri Lanka. Yeah. So the one of the best also the support is huge, and against in international game in Kuwait. Remember, so that's one of the best also. I got the best support in the national team. So in Bacolod, always. Yeah.
So after that game in Mongolia, I think medyo you were already kind of popular during that time, but after that goal against Mongolia, it seemed mahirap nang makahanap ng tao na hindi kilala si Chieffy Caligdong after that time, right? What was ano yung pakiramdam during that time? Obviously na iba na yung profile mo nun eh. Being as sa football community, you were already famous, right? I mean, everybody knew you. You've won the championship with Air Force 2 times in the UFL. You had that fantastic UFL Cup run in 2011, Air Force champion again. And then obviously there was so much success with the national team already. Now you were reaching national level star. And ano yung pakiramdam when you're walking around? Marami bang nakakakilala sa'yo? You're walking around on the street.
Diyan sa Pilipinas or dito sa Siyempre I always yun yung sinasabi ko palagi sa sarili ko na iba yung I always set aside yung football, no, as my personal life na wala pa yung football noon, ano ako noon, no. So I always stay same person, no. So yun yung pagiging humble, no, and of course yung yung humility sa buhay na binigay sa akin na nakilala ko sa football, no. But before that na nasa Barota ako, I always look back kung saan ako nanggaling, and I always response doon sa nakilala sa akin, no, na hindi ako nag-snub or na kung sino may nakakilala sa akin diyan sa Pilipinas, naglalakad ako sa streets, no. I always say hi and hello, no, because kung wala yung football hindi ka naman makilala eh, 'di ba? So, yeah, so yun lang. So, set aside ko yung yung pagiging football star ko. Pinahiwalay ko yung sarili ko na kung wala yung football hindi ako makilala. So, always bow and response to those people na nakakilala sa akin.
May nakakakilala ba sa'yo dyan sa Canada? Does anybody recognize you for your footballing exploits in the Philippines?
Yeah, so may mga Pilipino na when I arrived here last year, so we went to grocery stores, and yeah, we went there and one of the grocery stores, and yeah, yung isang family na recognize ako na sabi na kilala kita. Sabi ko, hello po, good afternoon. No. Wait lang. May kamukha ka sa sa Pilipinas, sabi nila. So, sabi ko, sino po? Sino yung hindi ko maalala eh. So, siyempre, pero na-recognize nila yung face ko na naalala nila. So, I just told them straight na I'm Chieffy Caligdong. Ganon yung approach. So, yes, yun na ganon yung sinasabi nila. So, minsan pero I'm so happy. And yun, kaya siyempre yung kwento, yung story sa ibang pamilya. So, take a picture when I was also went to Canadian store, yung mga one of the grocery also, no, and one of the employee there is a Filipino. So naghanap ako ng ilaw ng sasakyan ko, no, kasi pinalitan ko ng bulb, and one of the employee is Filipino. So sabi ko, saan makahanap ng kasi pag Pilipino kasi tinatagalog ko na lang eh. So mahirap mag-English, mas madali. So sabi niya ito, tapos sabi niya wait lang. Sabi niya may sandali na may naalala kita, parang Ilonggo ka, taga saan ka ba, Iloilo? When I told him na I'm from Iloilo, na-remember nila kaagad yung kung sino ako. So na-recognize nila na no, you're Chieffy Caligdong sa Azkal. Sabi niya sa akin, yes, siyempre. Natutuwa ako na kahit dito may naka-recognize sa akin na, and also watching and support us before Chris na nasa Azkal pa tayo. And even sila naalala nila, sila Phil, sila Chris, naalala nila. And sana tinatanong nila kung saan na din sila Chris, saan sila Phil. Sabi ko, Phil just signed off last year. Tama? Yeah. Last year, and sabi ko kay Chris, about Chris. So they are still remember us, during that time, because in our generation now, the football in Azkals is really different from our generation, right? Yung time natin na nasa Azkal tayo, in yung time nila ngayon, yung sa Azkal nila ngayon, di ba? So it's really different, kasi yun yung time na 2008 to 2012, yun yung talagang boom ng team natin, Chris eh. So
I have a question with that, Chief. Because I remember Anton. He was in a taxi maybe a year or two ago, and he was like, "Oh, you're Anton from the 2010 or whatever, however he described it." And he was like, "Oh yeah, what's Chief up to? What's Phil up to?" He's like, "Oh, I miss that team. I miss those days."
Yeah.
And I even look at. I mean, look, I go to the store now, and I go to buy a Gatorade. It's still you alongside Michael Jordan. It's still your face. It's still your face there. And I think to myself, like, unfortunately, for whatever reason, I look back to our time, and there was so much interest. There was so much, so many people excited about what was happening with football, and unfortunately, it's not the same now, despite maybe the team being better or the team having more success on the field. It's interesting that you talk about it, that you're still recognized, and you go to the Middle East, you go to any of these other places in the world, and they'll still recognize you. And that is what it is, and it's the same for people like Phil, for James, and even guys who haven't played for a number of years. But why do you think that is, Chieffy? Why do you think that people were so interested in our group of players as we came through? Why do you think there was so much public interest? Why were we so popular at that time?
For me, it's like I said, no, it's the team now. Like what you said is maybe people get more interest in our team. Right, the team right now is like maybe because we started it. People don't know before football is, right? Like we started yung football, hindi we didn't people even know we have a football team
right
that time, right? When we started and we bring the team on that next level, like people are now getting interest. Now the team now, like they are success. They have the team now is success on this generation. Like the team now is really, for me, it's you have a good team also way back in our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me is people keep supporting us because we introduce new sport in a country, right? So yun yung sa paningin ko, Jim, no, na yung tao nagka-interest ng football and keep supporting us because they know that we have a chance in football, right? So when they realize that we have a chance and sumikat yung team ng Azkals and yung mga younger ones na pumasok na sa team, hindi kasi tuloy-tuloy yung serbisyo nila, Jimmy. Like our remember, Chris, our team is we continue fighting and playing for how many years na bago umangat yung Azkals. Unlike dito sa team na to, yung players is in and out. It keep on changing.
Yeah.
No, that's why they're not really people will not recognize them because in our time we stay more and ilang years, 6 years, become a team. Like as nagawa na yung team, nandiyan na yung support. Unlike doon sa team namin before, yung hindi pa kilala Jimmy. No, it doesn't know about football. They don't know about football. Ano yung football? The rules, nahirapan sila sa So when
combination.
Yeah, so when they yung naalala mo na nag-retire na si Ali, nag-retire na ako, nag-retire na si Chris, nag-retire na si Rob. So yung players na pumapasok sa team, hindi ganun katagal eh. 'Di ba? So yung kaya hindi sila masyadong na-recognize ng mga tao and also yung support because yung nakatatak pa rin sa isip ng mga tao is yung the people behind who started this team. 'Di ba? So yun yung nasa yung para sa akin na bakit yung it's really different yung team before and yung sa team ngayon ng Azkals.
Interesting. So dahil kayo yung mga pioneer, nakatata kayo sa utak, and of course now as he mentioned, there's a lot of in and out in the team. So now some of the newer faces, it's difficult to create an association. Kunyari, kung fan ka, hindi mo sila masyadong kakilala, it's harder for you to create an emotional connection with some of the newer players. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
No, I think he's exactly right with a lot of those things. I look at it. I mean, there's obvious issues that we experienced from like a marketing perspective. Maybe some of the players haven't been marketed great. Maybe the league hasn't been marketed great. Maybe the national team hasn't been marketed great. So you have on the one hand, there's that element which is out of the control of the players. But one thing that I would say about our particular group was, I think our group that came through in kind of 2010, we had something for everybody. So if you were I think we've even mentioned this on our previous podcast, Jing, haven't we? Like, if I was a young aspiring kid from Visayas, for example, I could totally relate to a Chieffy or an Ian Araneta or someone like that, because I could see, right, there's something in me in those people, right? You can see, okay, like there's some, I can see myself in a Chieffy or an Ian. They're the types of people I would go to school with. These are the types of guys I have on my team. So they have that association because they can relate to you. So I think there was that factor that was really, really important. You might like Ali, very charismatic, wasn't he? A good leader. He was, he could probably, a lot of people could relate to him in a sense that he was a very strong character, so people could relate to that aspect. We had the poster boys, we had the funny ones, the jokers, different types of characters, not just in terms of just obviously put into one side the football stuff, like Chieffy was saying, because we were the first to really come to prominence. That's why I'm sure a lot of people were like, oh, okay, this is a great group. And then the fact that we were able to stay together for a period of time, both before 2010 and a lot of us after as well. I think, like you said, that the football community was able to have that affinity towards us because we were around for a long time. So that the faces, as Chieffy said, were recognizable. You knew who they were. And now, because obviously there's been a lot of coaching changes and the turnover of players has been great. A lot of the familiar faces who you would have known from 4 or 5 years ago, they've now gone. So it's now up to the current crop of players to obviously make their own names now, and and obviously for the league to grow and to develop, and for the federation and the national team as a whole to try to push these new characters, because unfortunately, the likes of Chieffy have been gone for a long time now, and how many homegrown players are going to come through and step into that position? There's, I mean, Amani, but he's not as sort of in front of the camera as charismatic. Maybe he's a bit more quiet, a bit more reserved, and you can't force him to do that. You can't force him to be that type of character. But there's, if there's only going to be 2 or 3 homegrown players coming through that system, obviously Dato is another one. But again, he's sometimes a little bit more shy, a little bit more quiet, a little bit more retiring. It helps us, obviously, with Jovin, really, and then Jovin is the other one. And I think at a club level, he does a great job with that. At a club level, he is Mr. Kaya. His face is there. He's very comfortable coming on and speaking and stuff. But, with the national team, he hasn't featured so much. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I was so pleased when I was involved with the coaching staff, when he came on and scored in Panad in the Suzuki Cup in the last campaign, when he came on and scored. I think it had huge repercussions within the football community here in the Philippines, because again, it gave some hope, I think, to homegrown players that, oh great, like since Chieffy, there hasn't really been many players that have come along who've been able to play at a really high level within the national team. Like I said, Amani and Dato are probably some of the few exceptions. So, I think he's exactly right with what he's saying. I think it's going to take some time and obviously some involvement in developing the homegrown players, because if there's not going to be any development in homegrown players, then unfortunately it's going to be a long time until we see more players like Chieffy and Ian and guys who I came in at the same time with, which would be a real shame because I think you lose that element of connection, especially with the Philippine football fans.
Yeah.
Speaking on developing homegrown talent, Alvin Ocampo sent in a message, a question sa ating Facebook page. And ang tanong niya is, involved ka dati sa handling of a youth national team.
Yeah.
His question is, ano yung state of youth football at that time or for the past 10 years when you were involved? And what do you think we should do para sa susunod na 10 taon in terms of youth football development?
For me, sa akin, no, yung kasi yung we always look for the future, eh, 'di ba? Yung problema kasi sa atin, we yung future ng youth development palagi, nandun tayo palagi na tinitingnan natin na maraming development. Ang problema is how we prepare yung future, 'di ba? So as a head coach noon ng under 15, way back 2013 and 15, no, I was involved in the national youth coaching staff, and i-compare mo doon sa time ko na nasa youth national team pa ako, walang pinagkaiba, walang pinagkaiba sa preparation, no, and a lots of talents, a lots of homegrown talents, sabi nga ni Coach Alvin, no, na yung preparation 3 months or 4 months is not enough to build a team, right? So way back yung sa time ko na I was in the men's team sa Tiger Cup, it's only 4 months yung preparation, no? So hindi siya nagbabago, eh. So yung sa tingin ko, it's really hard to build a team na sa 4 months na preparation ng and to scout sa ibang region, no, and dadalhin mo yung mga bata sa Manila, sa Luzon to have the final line-up to make a squad na 18 or 22. It's really hard kasi kasama na yung 4 months sa preparation, scouting, and to make a squad doon sa final preparation ng team. So for me, it's really tough, no? So kasi yung sa nasanay na tayo, yung nakikita natin yung future na sinasabi natin na ito yung gusto natin maabot. Problema yung preparation, nandoon saan yung pupuntahan natin na target natin, no? So sa akin, quite difference ngayon, no, yung next generation ngayon noon sa time ko, kasi yung like sabi ni Chris na kailangan natin ng involvement, kailangan natin ng iba yung storya namin na nung nasa youth team ako, iba yung story ngayon, yung attitude ng mga bata in training, no? So sa akin, it's really hard na as a head coach na to make a squad in only 3 months, na bibigyan ka ng 3 months preparation, and you have a lots of talents na hindi mo pa na nakikita na homegrown talent sa iba-ibang
So how would you
region.
change that, Chieffy? Like, kunyari, you're saying there's a lack of time, not only in terms of preparing for a particular tournament, but for the time it takes to assess the talents, particularly mula sa mga probinsya, in places like Visayas and Mindanao. So if you would need, how much time would you need, and how would you structure it differently in order to be able to accommodate yung mga talent mula sa probinsya, and to be able to create a better system in terms of preparation? So you've been a coach. If you were to have the power to construct the system yourself, ano yung gusto mo mangyari sana kung ganon? For example, for the under 15s, what would be the best way for you kung ikaw mabibigyan ng power to shape it yourself?
Yeah. Sa nakikita ko na isang problema, Jim, no, and Chris, yung isang problema talaga is yung tournaments. They're lacking of tournaments, yung especially sa Luzon and Visayas, and yun yung yung sabi ko nga na madaming talent sa Luzon and Luzon, sa Visayas and Mindanao. The problem is walang game, yung playing time ng mga bata sa ganung level. Walang tournaments eh. So pagdating sa Luzon, yung mga kids naninibago pagdating dito, compare mo dito sa mga taga Luzon player, especially yung mga player na from Visayas and Mindanao na matagal na rin naglaro sa Luzon, and you took another players doon sa squad mo, na dadalhin mo ulit dito sa training camp. So yung iba talaga is hindi makasabay sa training. No, una is kung ako lang yung pagbibigyan, we have to put more tournaments doon sa Visayas and Mindanao, and so that they can cope up din sa kung ano yung pagdating dito sa training camp. Kasi lahat ng mga tournaments dito sa atin madalas sa Luzon lang eh, 'di ba? Kasi may UAP, may NCA. So madalas na nakikita ng mga coaching staff dito lang sa Luzon, and sa Luzon lang talaga. Pero kung titingnan mo yung mga hardworking players na and more aggressive is galing sa probinsya, 'di ba?
Right.
So kung ako yung magbigyan ng chance na is lang, bring more tournaments sa Luzon, sa Mindanao and Visayas, and that's the time to make a scouting, no?
Right.
And one of the problem also is coaching, yung mga coaching staff, no? And yung mga coaches natin from Visayas and Mindanao is they don't want to study also. Akala nila kasi na ganun lang yung coach, no? But how you prepare your player, how you train your player pagdating kasi as a national coach. Alam ni Coach Alvin yan, yung mga taga Luzon, taga Visayas in Mindanao, pagdating dito pag na-scout mo na, the problem is may mga yung technical, no, and they cannot read yung game, yung problem, yung hindi sila makasabay sa laro, no? So yun yung isang problema. For me is lots of talents, pero kailangan lang ng more tournaments na ilalagay natin doon sa mga probinsya.
It's very interesting. I think we've spoken a bit about this in previous podcasts, right, Chris? I mean, the lack of competition makes it difficult for us to be able to assess which talents should be part of the national team setup. And I think Chieffy brought up a really good point there, that there's a lot of like raw talent and aggression that I think is lacking in some of the more, how should you say, some of the city boys here in Luzon, that the team would really benefit from having this aggression and this rawness. But you also need to temper that with the ability to read the game and the ability to learn the tactics and to have good technique. But you're only going to be able to do that if there is competition. And right now, I think that's something that's lacking.
And it's so funny you say that as well, Gene, because I don't know if you remember the conversation. I think it might have been with Alvin that we had this. Was about, or it might have been the one that it was asking me anything. I said almost the same thing. I said you have to regionalize it to start off with, because there's a lot of talent in Mindanao and there's a lot of talent in Visayas. I think there's a lot of competition that's here in the Metro Manila area. So generally speaking, we probably have a better handle on who's talented and who's not. But there are some clubs where they bring the kids up from Bacolod, and I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid's unbelievable. Never heard of him, never seen him before.
Yeah.
And that's just for one age group. One coach might have a connection with another coach. They bring them to Manila, then you see them like, wow, they're incredible. But there's loads. I'm sure there's tons of talent in these areas. But when are you going to see them? And like you were saying, a lot of it is that there's this political struggle, whether it be coaches don't want to release them, or they have a training camp on this weekend. The kids can't go to that training camp on that weekend, so they slip through the net, so you miss them. But if you've got tournaments ongoing throughout the year, coaches can go and see them. If you're with the national team, you can go down and you can go and look at these and observe them in their own environments over the course of 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 4 years. And then all of these kids are developing at different times as well. Like, you might have a kid who's amazing at 13, 14, but they just might be physically humongous, so they're just able to showcase themselves better. There might be kids who are undersized at the age of 13, 14, but they might be 6 foot plus by the time they get to 18, 19. So if you've watched them play and develop over a long period of time, you'll have these names in your system, in your database. Okay, right, maybe they're not ready for under 15 national team just yet, but they're technically very good. We'll wait for them to develop their physicality, and then maybe in under 17s or under 19s, they'll be ready to go. It's strange that a lot of people have the same answers. Alvin said something similar. Chieffy's saying the same thing there, that if you can just get good competitions in these regional areas. I know, like Palarot, for example, I mean, those games are on a similar type of model, but again, it's too inconsistent. You need to have higher level competitions ongoing throughout the year, consistently over the years, in order to really maximize the potential that you've got in these places. Because if you don't do that, if you don't give these kids really high level competition in the Philippines, first of all, how are we going to expect them to compete when they go to these other countries on a 1 or 2 month?
Because we rely, like what you said, Chris, no, and the Palarong Pambansa, we rely on the regional meets, Palarong Pambansa tournaments. Right after that, the kids stop playing.
Yeah, they go.
Right?
Yeah.
So the development of the player is really hard. Instead of playing the next level of football, they just stop, because they will play again next year.
Yeah.
For regional meet, Palarong Pambansa competition. So right after that, that's it. So players, you cannot force them to play or monitor yung mga bata after that, because some of the kids after Palarong Pambansa, they stop, right? But you see a good talents already there, no? Pero yung monitoring ng bata hanggang doon lang sa Palarong Pambansa. After that, wala na. Next year naman yung monitoring. So yun yung nangyayari, Jing.
All right, I see. I've got some questions here that some of our listeners and viewers have been sending in over the Facebook page, so I wanted to get through some of them. Here's a question from Steven Adina. Do you plan to coach or to build a club in the PFL, or a plan to be involved in developing local football? I know you're in Canada now, but down the road, plano mo bang at some point na bumalik, maybe run a club, coach the national team or a youth team? What's in the pipeline for you, Chieffy?
Siyempre, that's one of my plan, no? Siguro hindi pa ngayon ay yung siyempre yung sabi ko nga na yung yung coaching experience ko dito is hindi pa ganun ka talagang enhance ko pa talaga yung coaching ability ko dito, and siyempre yung approach dito is really different, no? Tough yung approach dito sa coaching. So, of course, aantayin ko yung body ko. If Chris the head coach, then I will assisting him as sa national team. So, I will try to convince also Roger, no, and Chris to, no, so I will support them 100%. So, coach sa club sa Pilipinas, syempre, I'm looking forward for that, na magiging isang head coach ng PFL football team sa balang araw, pero hindi pa ngayon. So, I will siyempre, gusto ko ma-settle muna yung may family, no, my kids, then I will decide siguro next 4 or 5 years, then yeah, I'm looking forward to help Philippine football, and also yung look forward to be one of the coach sa PFL. And for right now, I have 140 kids way back in Barotac supporting, no? I have 140 kids na tinay up ko dito sa club ko. So my club supporting them equipments and uniforms, no, yung North Mississauga Soccer Club. So yun, hopefully we can bring someday we can bring more homegrown talent sa galing sa Barotac na tinutulungan ko.
Oh, I'm actually quite interested. Kamusta naman yung coaching situation dyan? You said you're coaching a similar youth team, no? Under 15?
Yeah.
What kind of challenges has that brought about for you? Obviously, language is going to be a barrier, but also culture. I'm sure iba din yung kultura. No?
Iba. It's iba-iba yung lahi, no? Iba-iba yung approach. I have Canadian players, I have German players, I have Indian culture, I have ano pa ba? Middle East culture. So different approach. So but syempre as a football coach, as a football player, you know what, kung saan mo sila dalhin, no? Yung saan mo sila paano mo sila i-approach pagdating sa field. Pero yung kumbaga yung mga compare mo yung mga player dito, nakikita ko yung how Chris and how Phil, James, sino pa ba yung mga Rob, nakikita ko na yung sarili nila pag tinuturuan ko yung mga bata, and they're very really different when they play. They're always fighting for that position, no? So talagang yung attitude and character nila, Chris, na pagdating nila sa Pilipinas, they will never give up to get that spot until na makukuha nila yan. So yung nakikita ko sa mga bata, yun yung gusto kong i-apply pagdating diyan sa Pilipinas, no, yung mga character and attitude ng mga bata dito, na kasi you want yung passion nandiyan, no, yung problem lang dito is siyempre yung minsan yung may mga bata dito, yung problem is yung attitude, no, yung respect sa coaches, yun yung isang tough dito. Pero pagdating sa training, technically and tactically, no, yun yung sinasabi ko, na nakikita ko sila Chris, sila Ali, sila Anton, no, sila Phil and James, na how they fight and to get that position and spot.
Are you showing them some technique yourself? Are you still able to play?
Yeah, sometimes I join to play with them, and so Uh, uh, 2 months ago, I make coach players meeting, no, and team analysis. I make a slides for them, and I just show my picture na with David Beckham, no, against David Beckham. So they just surprised because they don't know me yet. No, so pinakita ko sa kanila na if you really like yung consistency na tinatawag, no? So yun yung hindi lang after you win that the game, sabi ko sa kanila na after that you win that game, you're done, no? Yung importante is you're looking for the next game, kung ano yung mangyayari sa next game natin. So yun yung inaano ko sa kanila na ina-approach sa kanila na tinuturo sa kanila na the way na kung paano ako maglaro noon.
All right. I think there's some who are sending in messages right now, live on the Facebook page. So you mentioned it a little bit there, talking about what Chris Greatwich and the rest of the gang that came from abroad to yung mga training camps, no? Their mindset, the technique that they were able to bring. When that happened, this was coming from Raymond R.V. Torres. Was there a sense of intimidation na dahil may mga dumarating na mga abroad na mga na talent? And ano yung pakiramdam mo as a homegrown Filipino, knowing that you had to compete for places, for spots alongside these players?
Sa akin, I'm very happy, no, na dumating tong mga pogi na to sa Pilipinas eh. Una, no, first, when you arrive in the Philippines, Chris, when you arrive in Rob, Phil, James, no, nilagay ko sarili ko kagad na it's a good challenge for me. You know why? Because these players are more experienced than us, no? So mas malaking maitutulong nito sa akin. I never intimidate to play with these guys, no? Kasi ito yung makakatulong sa akin eh. Ito yung makapag-improve ng technique, no? Tactic, kasi they are more experienced technically, and yung lamang ko lang is physically fit, no? Yun lang, physical yung mas agresibo ako sa kanila, pero the way they read the situation, no, tough situation, matututo ka sa kanila eh. Pero sa intimidation, I never intimidate na dumating to sila, kasi I gain more experience sa kanila. I gain more a lot of experience nung nakasama ko sila, no? Hindi
Yeah, you know what I think with that, Chieffy? I think the group of the guys that we came through with, so the likes of you, Ian, Jeffrey Lehman, I'll probably put Hanair in that batch as well.
Yeah.
Casas, I don't think those guys were intimidated at all. And exactly, I got the impression that it was more, we were all trying to, because we were all of a similar age, we were all trying to come through together, and you know what I mean? Like, because when we came in, we were super young, and then 5 or 6 years later, we're like, oh, we're the oldest here, you know. But I definitely think that there were the lesser players, the players that weren't either as good or as mentally strong. I got the impression that they were intimidated a little bit, and that's why some of those guys ended up not, falling away, which in a way is good, because we all wanted to be successful. So we couldn't have those who weren't mentally strong or those who weren't good enough. Unfortunately, they had to, they were cut. They were cut by the coaches. Yeah. That's how it was. And I could feel that. I could feel like like you were saying, if I'm going into training session, I know I have to be better than Antot, or I have to be better than Jeffrey Lehman, because if I'm not better than them, then Aris is going to pick them in my spot. But then I think there are some players who are like, oh no, I don't want to be a part of that competition. I could feel it. But there were other players, like, I knew that you were the one that were like, no, I'm not going to lose my place to, I don't know, Henry Browner, for example, some of the other guys that come in. I'm gonna fight, and these guys aren't gonna come back. And then what happened was these guys ended up, like you said, then we just kept pushing forward as a group. Okay, some people came in, even the international guys would come in. Are they better than what we've got? No. Okay, then we don't invite them back anymore. And then the same with the homegrown players. They think they want to be part of it, but in the end, I think some were intimidated. But I don't think. I think maybe the ones that survived and the ones that stayed there for a long time, like you said, you, Ian, and Top, Jeffrey Lehman, these guys. I don't think they were intimidated at all, and that's why they stayed around.
They're a tough guy also. Like so they're really like they have the heart, to play in the national team. Like Yanti Barsales, remember that?
Yeah.
So we always fight on that spot, that, and you really agree. Yeah.
I think there's been quite a few stories of Chieffy, even with a small stature, with your aggression. I know personally, I know a lot, I've watched a lot of games of you being very aggressive on the pitch. Chris, do you have any good stories of Chieffy and his aggressive nature in training or in matches that you recall?
He was always nasty. He could be nasty if he wanted to. He wasn't shy. I mean, he got his fair share of red cards. And actually, what's interesting, I want to come on to a point which he brought up earlier. I don't know if it's a Baratak or an Iloilo or a Visayas thing, but they all have that. They all have that nasty streak in them. Jovin's the same. Joven is the same. I mean, again, he's another one. He's had a few red cards. Very, very aggressive. Is that something that is brought up just because of how you play in the Visayas region? Do you think that's as a young kid, the games are more aggressive. They're when you play with your friends, it's more intense, and that just sort of carries through as you go through the age groups and you get into professional football.
Because we that kind of aggression that we have, like Joven Bidik, Ian Araneta, right? And because of our when we play in Barotac before, it's always you're putting your money, right? So when you play against the other kids, because kung yung walang no referee when we play, right? So we bet like 20 pesos in 20 minutes. Once you score first, you win. If the 6 o'clock time already 6 o'clock in the evening, it stopped. It's 0-0. It's draw. If it's 1-0 and the 6 o'clock time is already time, then the score is 1-0, is you win, something like that. So they like different rules, but no referee. It's a honest game. But because of the aggression, so we brought that kind of ayaw mo magpatalo eh. No, so yun yung attitude na nadala namin sa international game. So minsan na hindi namin makontrol yung emotion, akala namin nasa laro pa kami dati ng ganun. So it's like sometimes kahit sa Manila, so kahit na sa Air Force, 'di ba? So minsan nangyayari na nagkakaroon ng ano nga to, um, laban. So minsan ganun talaga. So like Chris, it's right. Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
also is Chieffy specifically. He was very competitive by nature. If you want a real story, I don't know if you remember this one, Chieffy. We was in it was Suzuki Cup 2010, and we just beaten Vietnam, and we had a training session before we played. I think it was before we played Myanmar, and we had a training session where we were all wearing these Christmas hats.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember this? Do you remember this session?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think Chieffy was unhappy with the decision that Sam McMenemy made during the training game. I don't know if you remember this one. And Chieffy just lost his head, right? Absolutely went crazy. And then I remember shouting at Chieffy you need to calm down. Like, we've got a big game in 2 days' time. And he was like, no, I don't care. He's like, F you. Right? So we're all like fighting on the training pitch in these Christmas hats. It's ridiculous, right? And yeah, and it was like 2 days before the biggest game in our history at the time, because obviously we had to qualify for the semi-finals. But that's just how we were. Like, we were all like that. We all just wanted to win. And then I remember back in the hotel afterwards, like, we'd all calm down and we just laughed about it. It was funny, but I think you need to have that. You need to have that competitive spirit, and if you don't have it, you're not going to get very far. But I think that's why, especially here in the Philippines, obviously a lot of the players that have come through and played with the national team, many of them seem to come from that precise region, because I think that he said that the competitive spirit is really strong. I don't know where Jing's gone. You there, Jing?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, so sorry. I thought you disappeared for a second there.
No, that's an awesome story about the Santa Claus hats, because I remember the pictures from that one. It just looked like you guys were having so much fun. I didn't know that there were...
Yeah.
A lot of aggressiveness, huh? Here, this one is coming from, by the way, hello to Anton Shecker. He says hello to you, Chieffy.
The boss.
And Anton, of course, took a lot of iconic photos as a team back in the day. This one's a bit of a cliche question. He says so himself. This one's coming from Luke Trasporto, who is a big supporter of the show. Ang tanong niya is, ano yung advice na mabibigay mo sa mga Filipino footballers in the provinces who aspire to go pro, particularly for the young ones?
Yung ma-advise ko lang sa mga especially sa mga provincial players, no, if you have chance to kung may chance sila makapunta sa, yun nga sabi ko, because of a lots of talent sa mga probinsya, no. Yung problema is talaga yung tournaments, yung competition. So if they have chance to come over sa Luzon to really to play sa PFL, so kung may chance sila na makapunta sa Luzon, and so yun yung best chance. Pero syempre minsan ako hindi ko naman sinasabi na I'm one of the lucky homegrown na based my experience. Kung hindi ako nakapunta ng Manila, hindi ako nakilala, right? So that time, so if we have, kasi bihira yung scouting sa Pilipinas, no, na talagang sa mga malalayong lugar, no, na especially sa Visayas and Mindanao. So if they have chance to come over in Luzon to try their chance na makapasok sa big universities, school, and to try sa mga clubs na to play, no, na makita din nila yung sarili na nakita ko yung sarili ko, no. So ano lang, always believe in yourself, no. Like sabi mo kanina na yung intimidation, do not intimidate yourself kung sino yung makasama mo sa training. Always stay dun sa comfort zone mo na kung saan mo talagang gusto mo maabot yung pangarap mo at saka yung dream mo, no? So it's all about preparation, physically, decision making, no? So yung buhay is a part of yung football is a part of kasama yung decision making, kasama yung psychologically natin, no? Yung pag-iisip natin, paano natin dalhin yung sarili natin. So ano lang, kung yung pangarap mo talaga maging maging isang pro player o national player, always believe in yourself na kayang-kaya mo yung ginagawa mo, and yeah, yun lang yung ma-advise ko sa kanila. So if they have chance to come over sa Luzon and try their chance na makapasok sa mga big school, and that's the time. And if you have that also na nandyan ka na, like sinasabi ko na like itong sila Chris na always fight for your spot, no? Kailangan pakita mo talaga na magaling ka, kasi kung hindi ka magpakita ng galing, yung chance mo ibibigay din sa iba.
All right. This one coming from Dominic Cruz. Two-part question. Sino yung paborito mong footballer growing up as a kid? And then second, sino yung paborito mong teammate in the Azkals? At bakit?
Paborito ko na player sa Azkals?
First growing up. Who was your favorite player growing up?
Growing up? Sino ba? On my time?
Yeah, when you were a kid?
Yeah. Ian.
Araneta.
Yeah, Ian. He's one Ian, and one of my favorite Chris. Hindi si Chris, pero one of my, because he's always a good give advice doon sa mga ibang players din, no. Chris is very approachable and very honest, na yung tipong straight to the point magsalita. Yun yung gusto ko eh. Yung hindi ka yung when you turn around, then they will magsasalita ng hindi maganda. Pero si Chris, they always talk to Boogie, talk to Winer, even Ian, Yanti, no? So I like the way yung kay Chris, kasi very straight siya mag-approach sa mga teammates namin. And kay Ian, so during Ian's time when we're a kid, it's really different, no? So Ian is a incredible player. Iba yung hanga mo kay Ian Araneta noon nung nasa kabataan pa kami.
In Barotac, no?
Yeah.
Chris Greatwich, huh? Come out as one of the favorite players, one of the favorite teammates of Chieffy Caligdong.
No. I'm just telling. It's one of my favorite. One of my favorite players sa Azkal, because Chris is as a good guy. You know, even I always ask his mom. No, Chris' mom and I are very close. My tita, right? So pag hindi ko nakausap si Chris, ay kinakausap ko yung mami ni Chris. No, so sabi ng mom niya, si Chris ay minsan magsalita siya, minsan ganun talaga, straight. Pero it's a good, it's para sa akin maganda yun, Jing, kasi at least yung hindi ka ano ba na iba tinuturing na ibang tao. So ganun lang.
That's what got me into trouble now, talking too straight. So I have to maybe I can't do that so much now. But no, it's funny. I mean, when I first came in, there was only really me and a couple of other players like Chad Gould and Darren Hartman. We were the only one
Chris?
came and joined the.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Sorry,
Can you hear me?
you started a little bit.
Who grew up.
Yeah.
I had to come about 6 weeks with women, so
Oh
these
no!
guys when
You
first came
might
in,
have to repeat yourself, Chris. Connection's
really
a little
tough,
stuttery.
these guys were good. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead, Jing. I'll try.
Yeah, connection was a bit stuttery there. We'll get back to that one. You were talking about yourself and Chad Gould and some of the other guys, but I'll make sure to put a pin in that. There's just people who wanted to say hello from our Facebook page. Enjoying the fact na nakasama ka namin ngayon. You were telling me also that outside of the coaching, you were also doing another job. Dyan sa Canada, you're also working for Amazon. Is that right?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing with Amazon?
Process assistant. So I'm helping customer shipments. So
Double duty.
Double duty, daily. So pag evening coaching. So yun lang. So because I can't run and can't stay in the house without football. So work in the morning, football in the night. So yun na.
How is the quarantine situation there right now? Here in the Philippines, hindi ka makalabas masyado talaga. It's pretty much a lockdown. But there in Ontario, how is it?
The government are very strict. No, you're not allowed. All the commercial building except all essentials. All essentials building are open, like grocery stores, hospitals, and pharmacy are open. The rest, non-essentials worker are closed. No, and all parks are closed. No camping, no everything. So the government announced to stay at home because every day, last week, 500% yung increase ng cases dito sa Ontario. So may dito last 2 days ago, one of the home care facility, yung 25 yung deaths. So masyadong mataas. So ingat kasi the Ministry of Health of Canada announced already the virus is airborne, no? So hindi na siya doon sa mga hinahawakan natin. So possibly nabubuhay sa hangin. So so the government advice na maging na lang, stay at home. So sometimes I work, sometimes I stay at home kung hindi ko feel magtrabaho sa Amazon, stay home na lang ako. So para at least safe talaga na.
Right.
Siyempre, I have 3 kids, maliliit pa. Oo.
Yeah.
And one of my relatives passed away also 2 days ago in Ontario because she's working in home care also, and she's a frontliner, no? So she was test positive 2 days ago, na and after 25 hours, she passed away of the COVID-19. So it's my neighbor in Barotac Nuevo. She served already 32 years in the service working in the home care. No, so yeah, so sad, and yeah, and we have a group chat and keep reminding everyone to be safe. No, if you're not necessarily to go out, don't go out, just stay at home. So yun, malungkot. Oh, so malungkot talaga na nangyari yun sa isang relative namin dito sa Toronto. Matagal na sila dito. So,
Wow.
32 years siya sa nagtatrabaho doon sa home care, doon sa mga retiring sa mga um, isang building. So, na-test siya positive after 25 hours. She passed away na.
So fast. Really sorry to hear that. Wow.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Chief.
Thank you. No problem. Yeah. So get back to that Chris.
Nice to have you back, Chris. Connection
Yeah,
issue?
sure.
Good?
Yeah, we're okay now. I'm not sure if I can tell you my story now after you just heard that one. No, I really just wanted to say, like, it was difficult for me when I first came. It was only me and Chad Gould, really, Darren Hartman a little bit. And they were really good to me, all of the local guys. It was a right mixed bag. Sort of half the squad was armed forces guys. The other half were collegiate guys.
But I'm the only player. I always go to your room.
Yeah, you come hang out with me, steal my magazines. Yeah. But no, in fairness, everyone they were a really good group. I mean, I always remember there were some really, really funny characters, and that was one of the things that really took me aback. Was like, I remember Jeffrey Lehman and Vaughan Melendres.
Yeah, Melendres
would do these funny skits, and they do all these funny, just little comedy shows for everyone, and it was a really fun time, despite the fact that obviously we were all so different. But yeah, I mean, the question that I was going to ask you was who was the most interesting character, not necessarily football or sort of teammate related, but who out of the guys who you've played with, who did you think were sort of the most interesting characters that you had in your Philippine Azkal career?
One of the players also. Ray Johnson.
Ray was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's a good guy, also a funny guy. And who else? Who else? I can't. Was Shrap. Yeah. I think. Yes. What do you think?
You lot weren't that interesting, apparently, Chris.
No, I'm not funny. Not as funny as those two, apparently. No, we had some really colourful characters. Like even from my early days, you know, like even the likes of like Ref Quaresma and people like that. They were always entertaining. Just wild. Crazy guys, but no.
Because they always make some raps, you know,
singing, dancing,
yeah. So it's a good funny times with the Diman and Bon Melendres. Yeah, it's good guys. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've done like over 2 hours on this show. Obviously it's late over there in Canada. It's already midnight or close to midnight. So thank you so much, Chieffy, for all the time na binigay mo sa amin to allow us to talk to you, catch up. I'm sure we're not the only ones who are wondering, kamusta na nga ba si Chieffy Caligdong. How are things in Canada? And it's nice to see you're doing well. Still involved in the game, still coaching, and the family's doing good. And we're hoping that at some point na makabalik ka dito sa Pilipinas and we'll be able to see you and catch up again
next year.
person.
Yeah,
next year.
Yeah.
I gotta get this jersey signed. So you're gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to see each other.
Oh, okay. Let's have a coffee with Chris and hang out with Chris. So next year. So hopefully, hope to see you soon next year, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope that the wife, Andre, Miles, hope they all stay well and safe. Hopefully they can get back and play again soon. And if you do ever return in the near future, we'll have to get together and play some games for a little veterans match, maybe with some of the old timers, and dust the boots off and get on the pitch again sometime soon. I think that'd be nice.
Okay.
All right, a real pleasure with Chieffy Caligdong, a true inspiration for all those who are homegrown players looking to uplift themselves through the game of football. It's awesome to have you here on the show and Across the Line. If you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to rate and review. And of course, join us on social media. We appreciate all the questions you guys sent in over Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. That's it, folks. Chieffy Caligdong, everybody.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Good morning, Pilipinas.